Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Stream of Many Things. My name is Wheeler, and today we are doing another episode and rendition of Brick by Brick, where we are going to go through oh, this big boy, Spelljammer Adventures in Space. I don't do a lot of Spelljammer stuff. I'm getting into it, and I bought the set that came out with it, but I just wanted to see what these minis look like and add some to my collection. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it and enjoy this next episode of Brick by Brick. All right, so as per usual, we are going to start with boxes. The lightest to begin with and then the heaviest to end with, just because that's how I like to do things. Usually the heavier ones have the nicer minis in them, or at least the bigger minis. But yeah, this is a great set. I think there's 47 minis in this set that you can get if you buy a brick. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started with it. If you're new to this episode style or video series, we start with the mediums and smalls and then move on to the large or huge mini that comes in each box. You usually get three. Sometimes if you're lucky, you get four medium smalls and then one large / huge that comes in a box. So without further ado, it's our first box, and that is our large, which we will get to. And all of our mediums fell out, but that's okay. All right. So, to start off our list, let's go with this one. So, first one, number 14 of 47, Captain Fell. This is like a pretty standard tiefling mini with rogue like attributes to it. It's wearing a cloak and has a dagger out. The paint job's relatively simple, but it looks pretty good. It's decent. The paint isn't bleeding over to where it's not supposed to be, and it looks really cool. Much like some of the other adventures that I have done box sets for of reviewing, I don't have a lot of specific information on this character, but this mini could be used for many things outside of that specific character within the, I'm assuming, the adventure that came with the Spelljammer box set. So really cool mini, not bad, great start, and yeah. So that's number 14 of 47, Captain Fell. I think that's correct, right? Captain Fell? Yep, Captain Fell. Okay. All right, next up, we have number 35 of 47, Prince Zeleth, who looks like a red wizard of Thay with a astronaut mask on. Again, pretty good on the paint job. There's not a lot of bleed over to places where the paint's not supposed to be, and the plastic that's covering the face is clear and actually has a bit of filigree on it that looks pretty good. A lot of these are probably going to be very Spelljammer specific, which isn't a bad thing. It's always fun to have miniatures for if you ever do a Spelljammer campaign, but this could be a necromancer. This could be any kind of wizard that's in space or in the astral sea that needs a helmet to breathe. So really cool mini. And that's number 35 of 47, Prince Zeleth. I'm probably butchering that, but still pretty cool mini. I'm happy when we get random characters because it's always nice. All right. Our last small / medium of the box is number 2 of 47, Rhaegar. Another one of those minis where, again, the paint job is actually very well done. The paint doesn't bleed over. It's got a good kind of lines on where things are drawn. And it's got a huge clear plastic ball on its head, as like I'm assuming part of a spacesuit. Again, this could be used as this, I'm assuming, character, but it could also be like a monk in space, just based off of the clothing and the look of it. But a really cool mini nonetheless. And again, if this paint job style is continuing throughout the entire box brick that we got, we're in for some pretty good painting, because this is a very good mini. So that's number 2 of 47, Rhaegar. All right, our first large of the brick is number 26 of 47, the Artuk Elder. The creatures that are in Spelljammer are really, really cool, because it is kind of reminiscent of like Treasure Planet, where it's like space pirates, basically. This is no different. It's like a starfish, quite literally, with a like removable, or rather extendable midsection, which I'm assuming are its eyes. This could be used as like, I mean, really a few things. You could have it as like a horror. You could run it obviously as the creature that it is itself. The paint job is pretty well done. There's nice shading on it, which is always appreciative, because sometimes that's what you need, is just some good shading. It's like green and brown, and it actually looks really cool. Again, I don't really know too much about the monsters of it, but I like doing reviews of the minis themselves, because I like to see how far things have come since not even that long ago. But it's a really cool mini. I like it. The nature of the things that I pick up is that I'll probably use it one day. And it's always good to have something, even if you don't know you need it at the time. So great start to this brick, and that is our big for the box, the first box, and it's number 26 of 47, the Artuk Elder. All right, moving on to our second box. The heavy one that I got is really heavy, so I'm super excited, but we'll have to see what it is. I'm really hoping for the Beholder in this set, because I think it looks really cool, and you can never have enough Beholder minis. But box number 2, we did get plastic with this one, so let's go ahead and, sorry for the noise, that's pretty cool. Put you over there for now. All right, we're gonna go ahead and empty out and get all of our mediums out real quick, and smalls, because there is a small, and I think we're gonna start with that one. So the first one of this set is number 20 of 47, the Auto Gnome. A new race of creatures that got introduced in Spelljammer. They're like a mix between a construct and a gnome, thus the name Auto Gnome. Paint job's really well done. I like the difference in metal colors that it has, and the little orb that it has in its hand. It just looks really cool. It looks like a miniature Tin Man from the Wizard of Oz, which I love. And it's an uncommon, I think, because it's number 20, but it's still beautifully done. Again, it's very easy to mess up simple paint jobs, but when you do well on it, it shows that you're actually at least paying some attention. Obviously there are things that are a little bit more difficult to paint, and that can come through at times, especially if you don't have the skill to do so. But this is very skillfully done. Again, I appreciate how far the paint jobs have come over these sets that I've been doing videos for, because they just, I like having good looking minis on the table when I'm using them. So really cool mini. I'm glad I have one. Hopefully I get another one. But number 2047, that is the Auto Gnome. All right, the next medium slash small is number 7 of 47, the Hadazee Fighter. Now the Hadazee are a simian race in Spelljammer that has had a little bit of well, not even a little bit, has had a lot of controversy about it, just of how they were written in the lore aspect of them. But they are extremely cool creatures. They have the ability to glide at an insane amount of speed. And they're a cool race. I like the more races that are getting added into uh, actual able to be played characters, because it just makes me able to create a lot more NPCs for my games. But the paint job on this is actually pretty well done as well. You've got the belt that actually has a nice like delineation of it. You've got the leather around the arms that actually shows a different color. Painted again, like I said, very very well. And I like the pose. The pose of it looks really really cool. Um, yeah, barring the pretty bad controversy around them on Watsy's part. They are a really cool race and character that you can create. And I'm super happy to have a mini of them. So that is number 7 of 47, the Hadizee Fighter. Okay, our last medium slash small is number 18 of 47. Let me make sure I'm reading this right. Dowar and Space Swine. This is an interesting mini. It is a flying pig who has a rider that is a badger or something of some kind. I don't know what the creature on top of it is. So if you know, you can put it down in the comments below. Um, Again, similar paint job to the other ones. The paint's actually where it needs to be. There's a good shade on it. It looks cool. It's one of those that like I'll have to read up more on this character in Spelljammer, but like I love unique minis like this because you can use them for anything. You can use them for, you know, NPCs you want to create just in your own world, and you can be like, yeah, it's a flying pig with a some kind of creature on top, maybe a goat. I don't know. It's some kind of creature that's holding what looks to be a sword or some kind of device in its hand. The ticks on the hand that actually show the claws of the creature are painted, which is really nice. But yeah, it's just it's a cool mini. It's fun. I love getting things like this because it sparks my brain of like, okay, how can I use this? How can I how can I do something with this? So really cool mini. That is number 18 of 47, Dowar and Space Swine. And that is the last medium slash small of the box. So we are on to the large. Sorry for the sounds. And our large for our second box is number 33 of 47, the Void Scaver. Now this thing is pretty cool. I would imagine you could probably use this also in like the Critical Role Call of the Netherdeep adventure, but it's basically like a cyclops with one bright red eye monstrous barracuda. It is on a huge base. It is actually quite big. But the paint job on it is very well done. Again, it's very simple because it's pretty much all one color, but there's a good shade to it. There's a nice like dry brushing effect, and then what looks to be like a semi-gloss finish on it to give it kind of that wet but still dry look. The teeth are actually painted teeth color, which I love. Um, so far this set has been incredible on the paint job. But yeah, it's a really cool creature. Um, Again, I don't know too much about it in regards to its stat block, but I do know that in Wild Space there are creatures like this that roam about. And it would be terrifying if you ran into it, but it looks really really cool. And a good second large for the brick so far. So yeah, that's number 33 of 47, the Void Scaver, or Scaver, but I think it's Scaver because there's two V's. All right, on to box number 3. And if you are still watching and hanging out, if you wouldn't mind subscribing to the channel, I'd really appreciate it. It's free to, and we're trying to get 100 subscribers by the end of the year. And we have like 55 to go, so I would appreciate it if you did that. And yeah, thank you for sticking around and hearing my ramblings about minis. All right, box numero tres. Oh, good large, good large, useful large. But we're gonna go through the smalls first. Oh, this is a good box. All right, we're gonna stop. We're gonna start with the smallest of this, which is a number 447, Chwinga. Chwingas are like elemental creatures that make their home in spaces like Chult and to the north in Icewind Dale, at least in Faerun. Um, and space is no different. Wild space is no different. Twingas are kind of coalesced elemental energies that have goodwill and are mischievous, kind of like what's the best word? Like Fae, but in an elemental form. Um, it is a common, which is good because you definitely want a lot of these. Um, they aren't really necessarily something that you would use in a battle, but they could be used in, you know, assistance or aid to an adventuring party, as again, they are generally good spirits. I like the two little yellow eyes. It makes it look like some of the Heartless from Kingdom Hearts. And the little wisp of the I'm assuming smoke or flame coming off of its head is really cool. So it's very simply painted, but it still holds a nice little touch to it. So it's number 447, the Chwinga. Love Chwingas, they're so cool. All right, we'll save you for last on the medium slash smalls. But our next one in this set is number 11 of 47, which is the Thrykeen. Now, Thrykeen have been a playable race for a while, but I feel like they're very underutilized. They're like a bug folk, a mantis folk kind of deal. And I just think they are really, really cool. The paint job on this one is, again, very well done. The eyes are not bleeding over into the skin tone. There is a very close coloration in the skin and the armor that he's wearing. But it still looks good. The shield is just a long patch of silver with a little bit of, it looks like a bleed over from a shade that came through. But it's a really cool looking mini, and again, like I feel like it's a very underutilized race to play as a character. But they are more prominent in wild space and in Spelljammer settings. So it's a good base mini. It looks like a fighter or a paladin. It could be really anything of that mind. So it'd be fun to throw it at a party at some point or another. But yeah, really cool. Glad to have one of these finally in my repertoire and armoire. But maybe I'll get another one. Who knows? But that's number 11 of 47, the Thrykreen. Sorry, Thrykreen. Yeah, cool mini. All right, our last medium of the box is number 21 of 47, Commodore Crux, who is a GIF. GIF are one of my favorite races to make NPCs of because I think they are so cool. They are a hippo folk who the best way to describe them would be like, in the worst way possible, they have the kind of look and vibe to them as like old English army men, like high ranking officials in the army, constantly wearing like regalia and showing their status by what they wear. This guy's got two like muskets, probably probably not a musket, probably a flintlock pistol. He's got two of them. And they're big, strong, constitute gunsmiths. And that's, I have one of them in my campaign who is just that. He goes around and he sells weapons for a munitions company. And they're just a cool race. They're fun. They help introduce weapons, like guns specifically, anything that uses black powder into a game. And yeah, it's just fun. Paint job of it on it is actually relatively good. There's a nice difference in coloration that helps with it. There's a good shade to it, and the movement of like the cloth on the body helps with the look. There's a little bit of bleeding over from the belt onto the jacket, but overall I think it looks pretty good. And I love gifts so much. So that's our last medium of this box, which is number 21 of 47, Commodore Crux. Now on to the large of this set, which I said was super exciting because I love creatures like this, and I'm happy that I finally have a mini for it. So I'll just keep going and we'll talk about it after I say what it is. It's number 28 of 47, which is the Ulitharid. Now, Ulitharids are illithids or mind flayers that have kind of gone past the point of being a part of a colony. They are splinter cells. They kind of take a colony away, part of a colony away to create a new one. And they, as such, they have extended powers and are not to be trifled with because they are basically right below an Elder Brain in the hierarchy of the hive of mind flayers. It's a pretty simply painted mini. It's mostly black with some gray accents, but the purple of the skin looks really good, and there's two eyes that you can see clearly that are similar in size and where they need to be. So that is always a good thing. But I love mind flayers. My campaign that's been going on for 3 years now has mind flayers in it, and the party has not encountered to the point of having to fight one of these, but has come face to face with one before, and they are a mean and nasty creature. But I think that it looks so cool, and I love creatures like this. I love mind flayers so much. So super happy with this one. I was so excited when I saw it when I opened the box, but now you get to see it too. And yeah, it's number 28 of 47, the Ulitharid. All right, on to box number 4. Almost halfway done already. We haven't been doing a lot. I guess it helps when I don't know a lot about the minis. I can just say what I think about them, and then we can move on to the next one. Ooh, interesting. I think I know it. But it doesn't matter. All right. We'll get one of these out of the way very quickly. Our first mini of this box is a duplicate, and it's number 447, the Chwinga. Basically what I said about the other one is the same about this one. The eyes are in a little different place on this one, but again, it really helps to have multiple of these because they really, if I recall, the lore on them is that they kind of travel in packs, and you can find them a lot of places, wild places where the elements kind of roam free. But a cool mini nonetheless. I'm glad that I have another one. It's, again, never a bad thing to have multiple of them. So it's number 447, the Chwinga. Let's see, who are we gonna do next? We'll save that one for last. We'll do this one. All right, next on the list is number 15 of 47, the Astral Elf. Now this is, if I recall correctly, another sub race that was added into Spelljammer. It is an elf, but it is obviously a elf from Wild Space, so thus the name Astral Elf. It's a really cool mini. The paint job on it is pretty well done. There's a good differentiation in color, which is nice. Not a lot of bleed over into specific areas. The collar has a little bit of bleed over. The face isn't the best thing, But I don't know if it's because it's wearing like a breather, and it's just covering up the face. There's like gold filigree on the head. That's really well done. It's very minute detail and it shows, which is really nice. Again, I'm very surprised and happy with how these miniatures have come out. But a cool mini to have, and again, you can really use it for anything. If you want to use it for a regular elf, you can. But having a mini for an astral elf helps out a lot, because if you are starting a Spelljammer campaign or anything like that, you're probably going to run into a few of these, even as NPCs or just players. So with that, that is going to do it for this one. And that's number 15 of 47, the Astral Elf. Pretty cool. All right, last of the medium slash smalls is number 6 of 47, the Suren Rogue. This is like a lizard folk type creature, but like very elongated and lithe. The paint job on it is relatively well done. I like the shading on the back. It looks good. You could use this for a lizard folk. You could use this for like an ancient civilization of lizard folk, because it has kind of like bird-like qualities with the long neck. Uh, yeah, but the paint job's, like I said, it's pretty well done. It looks good. There's good detail on it. There's probably a few things I would change about it, but you could use this for any number of things, including what it actually is. But yeah, a cool mini nonetheless, and fun to think about how I could use this. So it's number 6 of 47, the Suren Rogue, which I don't know if Suren is a race that you can play. I have to read back through the Spelljammer stuff, but I would assume because it was specifically named that it could be a faction or a race that could be played. So, all right, that will bring us to our, sorry for the noise, large slash huge for this box, which is number 32 of 47, Ne Tholgu. Now, this looks like a asteroid spider or crab. Based on the fact that there's only 6 legs, or rather 4 legs and 2 pincers, I would say that it's more like a crab. It's a pretty simple paint job. There's not a lot of extra detail on it, but the eyes look pretty good, and the teeth being painted also look really nice. This is one of those things that you could pull out as like an underwater creature, because again, it does look like a crab. Again, it can be used exactly for what it is. I'm assuming because it's a named creature, at least I think it's a named creature, it probably plays a role in the Spelljammer adventure. But it's a cool mini. Most of the minis in this box set are pretty cool. Again, they're mostly specified for Spelljammer things, but there are a few that you could use, i.e. the Eulitharid, the Chwingas, any of the characters really, and the GIF especially you could use in just any game campaign that you want to. But yeah, this is a pretty cool mini. I gotta read more into the Spelljammer stuff. I gotta start doing that before we do the videos, but I think it's still a great mini, and it'd be fun to figure out a way to throw this at the party outside of Wild Space, like maybe in the ocean or something. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. But yeah, looks really good. Like the dry brushing on it, and yeah, just a fun mini overall. So that is number 3247, Ne Tholgu. All right, we're officially halfway done into the second half of boxes. I'm going to do this one first. All right, let's see what we have. Oh. Ooh, that's a fun large. Really different. This looks like a repeat, but with a different... That's definitely a repeat. On mediums, and then this guy. Cool. All right, let me just double check. Yep. Well, technically not a repeat, but similar. I'm just gonna put these together. So we have a duplicate, number 15 of 47, the Astral Elf. But we also have a technical duplicate, which is number 1 of 47, also the Astral Elf, but in a different pose. The other Astral Elves have their swords out. This one just has its sword still in the scabbard and sheath on its side and is holding it kind of menacingly. Similar to what I said about the other Astral Elf, the paint job is good. And it looks cool. There's less filigree on the head as well. There isn't like a fan on the head like there is on the other one. But it's a cool mini. And again, you can really never have enough of these, especially if you're playing a Spelljammer campaign. And that's why it's the most common one. Could have a roving band of pirates that comes through and it's all Astro Elves or mostly Astro Elves, but still good to have a bunch of these. So the duplicate is 15 of 47, but we also got the most common, which was 1 of 47, and both of them are under the moniker of Astral Elf. So the technically last medium, since we got a duplicate and a semi-duplicate of this box, is number 13 of 47, which is the Astral Blight. So this looks like a Vine Blight, but with a more alien color to it. And the hands are kind of coming out of where they were glued in, but the paint job on it is it leaves some to be desired. It's just kind of one color with a bit of shading added onto it. You could use this as like any kind of blight, really, as long as it's not a twig blight. But you could use this as a vine blight that's like in the Fae, or obviously an astral blight, again, because you can use these for exactly what they're named for. You don't have to use them for other things, but yeah, it's a cool mini to have. I'm gonna use it for something, and I'll probably use it for a vine blight before I use it for an astral blight, but just wish there was a little bit more of a dry brushing on it to kind of help the color pop a little bit more and maybe give it some like depth and texture. But the movement of it is cool, and the pose that they chose within that movement is pretty nice. So good mini. Again, just wish there was a little bit more on the color side. So it's number 13 of 47, the Astral Blight. And that brings us to the large of this box, which is actually something I don't have a lot of minis of, surprisingly. But that's number 34 of 47, the Umber Hulk. And it's a really good Umber Hulk mini. Again, difference being between the last one, the Astral Blight, and this one, they're similar. They have the same kind of like monotone color scheme, but this one just has like good shading on it, and it kind of, instead of retracting from the color, it kind of adds to it and helps naturally highlight some of the stuff that's happening on it. And again, it has kind of like a glossiness to it to give it kind of like that chitinous look. The eyes are really well done. They're different color and they're staying within the lines. You've got really good shading on the underside and on the back. So a really cool mini to have. If you don't have Umber Hulks, you should definitely get a few, because they're a good like mid-level creature to throw at a party if you're playing any game, whether that's Spelljammer or high fantasy. It'd be fun to even throw it into a modern game. I think that would be cool. But yeah, this is a really good mini. I'm glad that I finally actually have one of them. But it is number 34 of 47, and that is the Umber Hulk. Yeah, probably gonna get some good use out of you. All right, box number 6. We're getting through this pretty quickly. Box numero 6? 6? Yes, 6. Oh, that's a cool large. I don't know exactly what it is, but it looks cool. And that's really what I'm here for. Oh, I'm so excited about this one. I'm so excited about that one. And this one. And this one's interesting. I don't know exactly what it is, but it still looks cool. All right. So with box number 6, we're going to start with this one because it's not a duplicate, but it has a similar one in the box set. So it's number 12 of 47, which is Mr. Flinch, which is a Hattazee and looks like a fighter. Looks very similar to the fighter with some differences, it being the hair color. Everything except the face is pretty well painted. The face could have used a little bit of extra time. But it is another Hattazee, and the leathers that he's wearing are gorgeous. There's beautiful shading added to it. It looks really good. There's some dry brushing on his his greaves, which looks really nice, and it's a good mini. I mean, again, whenever you have a playable race and you can get a bunch of minis of that race, it's always a good thing. And you know, again, we got the Hattazee earlier, and technically this is a named character, but you can use it as an NPC again of like a roving band of pirates in the Astral Sea, and have them be a character or an NPC in that band of pirates. I like the movement of it. It's a little weird and wonky. Like the proportions are a little weird on it, and I understand that's just kind of how they are because it's playing into that simian aspect of having like longer fingers and hands for like grabbing and swinging through things. But it's a cool mini nonetheless. I like it, and it's good. It's a good addition to the collection. But that's number 12 of 47, Mr. Flinch. You're a mean one, Mr. Flinch. Sorry. All right, our next one is another medium, which is number 2247, the Sirloin. Now this looks like a worm with legs that was wearing like an interesting cloak. The paint job is relatively simple, but there are some good details on it that help kind of bring it to life a little bit more. I love the color choice for the cloak, the robe that it's wearing, because it kind of blends pretty well with the dull gray of its body. Now, again, I don't know exactly what this creature is. I'm assuming it's something that has been warped by wild space to be just creepy. Based on the PS at the beginning of its name, I'm assuming it has some kind of psionic abilities, as a lot of things tend to in astral limbo places, especially with the Gith. But it's a cool mini. It'd be fun to use as an NPC for something, like a weird Godfather type character in the Astral Sea that kind of he runs the mob, you know. He just has he just needs you to go out and pick up some things. But yeah, it just seems like it'd be a cool mini to use. I don't know exactly what it's for, but I will read up. I will figure it out. And if you know what it's for, put it in the comments below. Let me know. But that's number 2247, the Sirloin. All right, the last medium of the set is something I'm very excited about. Another race that was added within the realm of Spelljammer. Number 10 of 47, the Plasmoid. Literally just a living sentient ooze. I love oozes so much, and I think this mini looks so cool. It's got like the little almost jellyfish-like internal bits kind of painted on the outside with very good detail, which I love. It looks really, really cool. The little backpack it has is painted really well. And I love the instead of having it translucent, the semi-opaque nature of it, giving the realm of that, like, this is something that is living. It actually has, you know, a density to it. But a really cool mini overall. I will probably introduce plasmoids into my game just for fun, even though I do mostly high fantasy because I love oozes and I love the plasmoids. I think they just look so cool. They're so much fun. But yeah, really cool mini, really well done on the paint job. Even as simple as it is, it's still expertly done, and I think it looks really good. So, as number 10 of 47, the plasmoid. All right, on to the large of this box. Sorry for the noise. Large of this box is number 30 of 47, which is Gaj. Gaj? It's Gaj. But it looks like a chitinous monstrosity. Again, it's very easy to get paint jobs like this not very well, but this one is actually fairly well done. There's dry brushing aspects to it that make it look and give it some texture, which is really, really nice. The face is grotesque and has that chitinous nature to it. It's got the feelers that you can kind of almost see the feathery aspects of it. It's interesting that they chose to go with a single solid cylinder instead of the way that they've been doing other things with movement like that, to hold it up. But I think that is exactly what it's for, is just to hold it up. I don't know what this creature is used for, but it reminds me of the large creatures from Starship Troopers, the ones that shoot out like molten goo. The eyes are painted very well. The neck has a bit of a different color to it. There's some darkness that goes into the bottom half that, like, again, adds to the fact that it's this hardened shell on the outside. So I'll have to read up more on what exactly this creature does, but it is a cool mini nonetheless, and something that will be fun to use on a party. Be cool to do something in like a mutated forest in the Fae, where like almost like Skull Island, where everything is just like oversized and monstrous in some way. I think that'd be a cool thing to use for it as well. So cool mini. Definitely going to use it at some point. But that's number 30 of 47, Gaj, however it's pronounced. I'm not sure. All right, we're on to box number 7. One more box after this. You are. This is the second heaviest box, at least by what I could tell. Ooh, that's a big boy. That's good. So we'll save that one for last. Go ahead and get these other ones out of the way, though. We got another duplicate, and another duplicate. So this is going to be pretty quick box. We'll get straight to the big guy. We'll start with the smallest and work our way up. So our first duplicate of this 3 duplicate box is number 2047, the Autognome. Like I said before, just a cool mini. Well done with the variation in color. Blue and silver go really well together, so a bluish metallic was a wise move. But yeah, really, really cool. And I have 2 of them now, which is fun. Because again, you can never have enough of one creature that you could throw a bunch of at your party. So it's number 2047, the Autognome. Next duplicate is number 2 of 47, Rhaegar again. Now again, I don't know if this is a named character or a specific like race or creature. Regardless though, having multiple creatures like this would be is cool and fun, because you can use them again as things that you can throw at your party. And having 2 that look the same could mean that, like, oh, maybe they're twins that just like to dress the same or something. Or you could use them as a mirror image. Something like that would be fun. But it's a cool mini. Again, I like the helmet piece. I think that's a really cool addition to these, and making sure that people are aware, like, yes, this is an adventure in space. Thus the name Spelljammer, Adventures in Space. But yeah, another duplicate, but I'm okay with that. It's number 247, Rhaegar. All right, our final duplicate is number 13 of 47, the Astral Blight again. This one is a little bit better on the paint job, but again, you can use this really for anything. Blights are the best use for it. But I like it. I personally think it looks really cool. And blights are fun because they're normally lower level, lower challenge rating creatures. You can throw a few of them at your party. So having a couple of these, which I might either just paint over them or keep the same paint job, is fun. So yeah, that's our last dupe of the box, and technically all our mediums, which is quite funny, but it's number 13 of 47, the Astral Blight. All right, the big boy. So big, in fact, that he has a zip tie on him. That I have to undo. Now, I thought I knew what this was, but I don't. This creature is number 45 of 47, which is definitely a rare, and it is Brog. Now, this is definitely a giant of some kind. And it's green. It's got a spear. It's got 4 arms. And it's just cool looking. The eyes actually are pretty well done. The mouth is well done. The stone on the boulder is actually very well done. I like the look of it. But yeah, it's just a cool giant mini. Like if you wanted to throw something at your party that was like weird and alien, and you know, in Spelljammer, this would definitely be something that you could throw at them. Or if you just want like a weird mutated hill giant, I mean, that could also be a use for this. You know, there are mutated giants out there, frost giants, the everlasting ones. They have 3 heads. It has to do with, you know, rituals that they go through, and this could be something that you use for that as well. But the mini is really cool. The paint job is well done, and the spear is a little bent, but that's the nature of some of the plastic that they use, which isn't a bad thing. Because a little bit of bending helps out a lot. But yeah, it's actually really cool. It's got some chest hair, it looks like. And I like the dynamicism of it. The movement that it has is really nice as well. So that is our large of this box, which is number 45 and 47, Brog. All right, we are on to our last box, which was the heaviest box. And I'm talking like this thing weighs a solid pound at least. But we'll see what we get. Assuming it's going to be... It's got to be something good. Oh, he's a big boy. My goodness. You're a chunky man. Our last box of the set, though. Get to you last after we get to these other ones, which don't look like duplicates, but do look like named characters. All right. So our last box of the set, we are going to another technically not a duplicate, but the same creature in a different pose. It's number 3 of 47, which is the Autognome. This one has is more just generic in the coloration. It's just kind of a silver or pewter. But the pose is really cool. I like the way that this one looks, and I like having a bit of a differentiation between similar characters in something like this. So yeah, really cool mini. I'm glad that, again, I have a few of these now. So that's number 3 of 47, which is the Autognome in a different posture. All right, next up we'll go with... Oh, you both look so good. We'll go with you first. All right, second medium out of the set. 43 of 47, Captain Elena Sartell. This is a looking like a human pirate. Pretty standard gray beige paint job with a little yellow cap. The face is actually fairly well done. It looks really good. And the nice little scimitar in the hand that also looks pretty good. Yeah, I like minis like this because these are definitely minis that you can use as regular pirates, space pirates, characters, NPCs, the actual character that it is. But it looks good, and that's the important thing. Is it does look fairly good, and there is a nice um there's just kind of a nice aspect of it that is fun. And I do appreciate this mini as a whole because it can be used for multiple things. But cool mini nonetheless, and I'm happy that I have it in my repertoire. So repertoire. I think that's the right word. I keep using that word, so if it sounds wrong, then I'm sorry. But that's number 43 of 47, Captain Elena Sartell. All right, the last medium small of this box and this brick is number 25 of 47, the Astral Elf Aristocrat. Um, pretty good mini. I would have liked a little bit of shading on the chainmail to kind of show that it's chainmail, but the face is well done. I like the pink hair. It looks really cool. This is another one of those things that you could use as just a regular elf. You could use it as a pirate. You could use it as really anything. But it looks good. The cloak looks good. There's not too much of a bleed over on the paint job, which is really nice. And again, it's an astral elf, so it's just another one of those things where it's a multiple of one thing, and that's always good. That means that you can use different looking creatures, and have a group not look like the same mini over and over again, which is nice. And I'm sure it's fun for people who play with minis, and for people who are playing in games where minis are used. So really cool mini. Again, I love the pink hair, and I think that it looks pretty good. And I didn't even notice there's actually a different color on the underside of the cloak, that's on the edges as well. So really beautifully done miniature, that looks incredible. So that's number 25 of 47, the Astral Elf Aristocrat. All right, to why this box weighed like almost a pound. Another I have to undo a zip tie for. All right, our last mini of this set, and it is a good one. It is an uncommon, but it is still good. Number 29 of 47, Braxit. This is like Rhino from Spider-Man, but like if Rhino was a real Rhino. The eyes look incredible on this. This paint job is absolutely astonishing. Now it's relatively easy to get, but again, when things are easy, those are when you tend to mess up things the most. The horns have a different color on it. The top of the head, that's probably a softer material and leather, is a different color. The armored plates have like a beautiful dry brushing effect to them. This would be cool as like some kind of elemental creature, to throw at a party or something like that. And it is like giant size. Like it's as big as Brog. It's got a little club, well, little. It's got a pretty big club tail with some spikes on it. Yeah, really cool mini. Really heavy. Like this is a solid chunk of plastic. But I love it. I think it looks incredible and is cool, and my brain is already racing on what I can do to throw this at my parties. But yeah, that's number 29 of 47, Braxit, and that is the last mini of this brick. I think we did pretty good. There's definitely some minis that I will use more than others, and there's definitely like most of the things that we got were very Spelljammer related. But all right, so now we go through best paint job, worst paint job, most useful, least useful, and then my favorite. So we're going to go both the negatives up front. Worst paint job, I'm going to say is got to be the Astral Blight. It's just you can do so much better with one color. I think that it's even just a little bit more shading would have been nice. Um, and I just it just leaves me wanting for more. Um, so that's gonna be the worst paint job out of the set because there a lot of these are really well done. It's gonna be hard to pick the best paint job. Um, although I already know which one I'm going to pick. So all right, least useful miniature in this set for someone who is not playing Spelljammer. I'm sure all of these are going to be useful for Spelljammer campaigns. I think the least useful is gonna have to go to the Sirloin. Um, it's just like a worm, and I don't know what I'm gonna use it for. I'm sure I will find something out because that is the testament of DMs who have minis is finding something to use those minis for. But I just don't know if I'm gonna find anything to use it for multiple times. So that's why it's gonna be my least useful. All right. Best paint job is what we'll do next. Best paint job is gonna go to Braxit. I I am a sucker for good dry brushing, and this big rhino dude has a lot of it on him, and it just makes him look so good because it brings out the depth that you get from the shading. It just looks good. And I am a sucker for minis like this. I love painting trees for that reason. I think that trees, while they are very easy to do, they're the most fun to paint because they look the best when you're done with them. And I think that is epitomized in this I don't even know if I could call it a mini because it's just so large and chunky, but it is epitomized in this beautiful figurine. And again, I'm just blown away by how far whoever is painting these for WizKids has come, because they look incredible. So that's my best paint job out of the set. My most useful. My most useful is going to be the Umber Hulk. It can be used multiple times across multiple sessions. It is probably one of the most well-known monstrosities of the Underdark. And I think it's just going to get the most use out of all of these. I will probably find a use for every single one of these minis, but this one specifically is going to probably get the most use. So that is my most useful. Now for my favorite mini out of the set. Oh, goodness. It's got to be, man. I'm going to give you my top 3. Braxit is one of them. The Gift, Comrade, or Commodore Commodore Crux, and the Elithrid. I'm a sucker for GIF. I love GIF. Again, I also am a sucker for Mind Flayers, which is why the Elithrid is up there. And Braxit is just beautifully made. You're talking about one of my favorite races, one of my favorite monsters, and a good paint job. Those are obviously going to be my favorite because I am a miniature painter, and I love when things are done well. So, yeah, that's this brick. There are definitely a couple things I wish I would have gotten. There are some things that I probably could have done without, but that's this brick. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this review. We're gonna keep doing it because I like giving reviews of things that are honest and forward, and maybe one day we'll get sponsored or get things beforehand so we can get these out to you quicker. But I'm going to be doing this continuously, and I hope that you enjoyed. Let me know what your favorite mini out of the set was, what you think you would do with certain minis that I don't know what I'm going to do with them, and what you think of this set overall. So thank you for joining tonight. I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching and commenting and subscribing, which please do if you aren't already. That's going to do it for me here, but I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day or night, whatever time it is where you're at. And until then, and until next time, we're just going to keep doing this brick by brick. Have a good night, everyone.